Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneur Solution Show. This episode, it's going to be different than all the other episodes because I got a special guest, and this is going to start a new trend. We're going to do this periodically throughout, and this is a special guest, but a special person and a special friend that I've known for a little while now. We met through some mentorship programs and masterminds that we both participated in and struck up a friendship. Primarily because of the kind of person he is. He's been an entrepreneur for many, many years, as you'll hear, but he comes from a place of creating meaningful cultures, meaningful businesses, and comes from a place of figuring out how do you create meaning through his business. And so I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Jeff Moore. He's the president of the International Pacific Seafoods. It's a seafood importer and processor with global seafood sourcing. And he is a global seafood sourcing specialist. For over 20 years, Jeff has established himself as a trusted advisor to food service distributors, chain restaurant operators, and various entrepreneurs and industry professionals from established enterprises in and outside the food industry. And I can tell you from personal experience, his knowledge, his wealth of experience, and his perspective is not corralled by just the food service industry. It is in all aspects, from small business to large business. He's also the founder of an entrepreneurial and marketing mastermind group called Thursday Night Boardroom, with over 500 members in 24 countries and around the globe, chapters popping up all around the country. And I need to apologize to him because I haven't made it to them, and I have the invites, and I'm going to make it. I promise. And now it's on tape, so I have to. Jeff's a business optimization expert and has worked with scores of businesses in dozens of different industries, helping them discover their hidden pocket of profits throughout their offering, their marketing copy, customer relationships, supply chain joint ventures. And Jeff has discovered and refined and evangelizes what he calls a system called value, Y-O-U. It's often misunderstood and poorly executed method of customer engagement, and has been successfully applied by some of the most successful brands, business leaders, and business leaders for centuries, and is responsible for creating some of the most powerful, profitable, and sustainable relationships in the world. And probably his greatest joy is the fact that he is a proud husband and father of 4 children and resides not far from me in sunny Southern California, so we won't hold that against him. Welcome aboard, Jeff. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Mel. That's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot, but you've done a lot, my friend.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? The one thing that I'm sitting there listening to all this, going, "Oh my God, I've got too many things going on." Actually, it's actually all the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Right? You know, and it's our interaction, our engagement with with our customers, with our suppliers, with our team. More importantly, and our family and our friends, and how we do one thing's how we do everything. And so while that sounds like a lot, it's actually, I'm not smart enough to do all that stuff differently.
Well, I think you're a living example of what I tell people is that, there's that concept of work-life balance is an absolute myth, and that there's simply life, and every choice we make in business, in whatever context, business or anything, it's life. And if we took that in and made our choices as life choices, whether it's with a team member or a customer or anything of that nature, we might make different choices. And you've done that, my friend.
Yeah. And, I think not all the choices have been there, but you know what? They've served as a great experiences for the next time I see that choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Do me a favor, just for the listeners and the viewers out there, would you just kind of give us a quick glimpse of, I've kind of given them a little bit of who you are, but your journey, and if this is really, and I may know the answer to this just because I know you so well, if this is really where you expected to be at this stage of your life.
Oh boy. You know what? There's a lot of time where I ask myself, how did I get here? And it's not always because of something positive that happened, but I'm asking myself, and it's evolving. And honestly, at this point, you and I are big proponents of opening ourselves up to the universe. And as you open up to the universe, that funnel at the very top becomes wider and wider. And to me right now, at this stage of the game, the only uncertainty is the uncertainty that I provide for myself. It's the one thing that I'm certain on is the more I open up and the more I give, the more massively opportunity finds its way to me. And literally at this point of the game, we just sold our company, but I'm still the president and I'm still running the sales and get to do all the fun things that I want to do for a person that's got more money and has you know, is really is an abundant thinker in every meaning of the word. And it just seems right now, the more I exercise my gifts, the relationships that I've had, the things that I've learned from people such as yourself and mentors of ours, that opportunity just seems to be falling out of the sky. And I'm giddy about it. And I just, all it does is serve as not just this really cool thing that just happened, but a sincere obligation to serve more. And, you know, I grew up as a sales guy. I've always been a salesperson, but not from the white buckle shoe, you know, smiley gold tooth type guy, you know, that, hey, you want to buy a watch, you want to buy a toothbrush or whatever, but about really being able to break things down. And that's why I enjoy our conversations so much. Break them down into frameworks and understand that at the core of any relationship, it's questions, and those questions that reveal more of what a person is and who they are, and questions that help you as an individual tell your customer, your partner, your wife, your spouse, your children, your friends, being able to tell a story about them better than they can tell to themselves. And that has been for every breath that I've had for all my life, is to be able to provide, you know, I'm not selling somebody necessarily a product, even though I do, but I provide a greater meaning and a greater story to them about themselves. And so if that sounds too woo-woo or esoteric, I probably is. I just don't know how to explain it any better.
Well, I think that, you know, you kind of, well, you did this. Do you still have the business cards and stuff that you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And those business cards have some very specific questions on them.
Yes.
And
you know, it's interesting, those questions, those 5 questions on the back of the card, 5 questions that we ask when we go see customers on seafood relay, you know, on a seafood call.
So you're selling fish.
Yes. Yeah. Dead fish. 73% of the time we ask these questions, the customer is not using the best available option. And over the last 7 years, since we've been asking them strategically and on the back of our card, we've saved the restaurant operator $3.5 million in food cost. And those questions have absolutely nothing to do with seafood and everything to do with the customer and what they're doing. As a matter of fact, at an event where I met you for the first time, David Bach was at the event, the New York Times bestselling author 12 times over now, or even more. And I showed him the question on the back of my card, and he's just like, oh my gosh, there's 7 questions I ask every single client of mine before we start. And I'm like, awesome. And he goes, can I put them on the back of my card? And I'm like, yeah. Yes. What am I, the card police? By all means. And I'm such a fan of the questions. And honestly, at Thursday Night Boardroom, like we talked about, I ask questions not with the intent, but it turns out to be that way. Questions that are so insightful that they literally haunt the people once they've been asked, that they're constantly asking that question to themselves over and over and over again, and always revising and evolving in the answer and in the way they serve based on that answer.
I think some of our greatest growth moments come through reflection, and questions cause you to reflect, to sit back. I mean, and what do they say? An unexamined life, you know? And I think that's the thing that we look at.
Right.
So.
And it's just, obviously I'm gravitated towards people that are asking deeper and more insightful questions. And for me, even, they can just be in straight conversations with friends or something. And all of a sudden I'm like, man, I'm going to write that one down. And It just, to me, the essence of selling, the essence of any type of engagement is founded in questions. And so.
Well, it really is. It really is, which kind of leads me to this next thought, because you have a unique relationship with pretty much everyone you're in contact with. I mean, including us. I mean, we certainly hit it off pretty quickly.
Yep.
But if I asked some of your closest friends or your customers, what does Jeff Morris stand for? What do you stand for in their eyes? What do you think they would say?
I am their absolute number one cheerleader and advocate of their better selves. That I appreciate them and celebrate them and love them as they are today, but can see them as a person that is even doing even more, serving more. And I literally tell them their story about how they're able to do that. I mean, one friend of mine's an attorney that has a multi-7-figure practice, and I'm so proud of him because he literally works 20 hours a week with a multi-7-figure practice. I mean, has the structure, the systems down, phenomenal. I helped him with 22 words at the beginning of his presentation when he had prospective clients come in, that took his conversion rate, his close rate or sign-up rate to 90%. And he said the other 10% aren't the ones that he even wants anyway.
So really he gets 100% of what he wants and filters out the rest.
It filters out the rest. And so he's like, God, this has been so great. I'm going to start opening more offices. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I look at him and I kind of got that, when you kind of look at somebody in a way that that before you say anything, you're preparing them for a different direction. And so they kind of go, what? I didn't say what. You're looking, it's that look, it's the old, like with you and your brother, Mom, he's looking at me again.
Yep, absolutely.
And so I'm looking at him. I'm actually barbecuing in my backyard. I got this awesome outdoor kitchen with the hood and everything. And I look over and he's like, what? I go, you got a pretty cool lifestyle right now. 3 offices. I go, is more offices going to mean more work? He goes, oh yeah, but man, everything's going great. I go, okay. And he's like, what? And I go, I'm just wondering, after you're a workers' comp attorney, after somebody has been, the case has been settled, they have their money, what's the next thing they should be concerning themselves with? If let's say that they're on permanent disability, what's the next thing they should be worried about? He goes, Social Security, making sure that they're taken care of in their family. And so he starts explaining it to me, and I go, how's that process of Social Security? He goes, it's almost identical, the process, to what I'm doing. I go, well, instead of going wider, have you ever considered going deeper? That was 4 years ago. His workers' comp practice has gone up significantly. His Social Security law practice has equaled his workers' comp. So he's doubled his practice size and doesn't work 1 hour more a week.
Bingo.
And I didn't tell him, do this. It was just, I was asking questions. And I just, in that moment where he was like, I'm going to do this. And I just asked him a couple of questions because I thought I had a better story to tell than he did. Magic.
It's so huge that we don't think, and I come, being an accountant by education, I come from a left brain world. So God forbid you tell stories and don't use numbers. But the bottom line is that, there's a study that was done by eBay, and they literally took these inanimate objects that were meaningless. They were tchotchkes and stuff, and they listed it on eBay, and like they'd sell for 52 cents. And then they'd have a creative writer write a story about it.
Yep.
And they would publish the story with the object and post it up for sale again. And like something that sold for 52 cents sold for $29.
Oh, yeah.
And,
great. Right? That's all it is.
Yeah. And so when I work with with my entrepreneurs or, the thought leaders that I work with, it's the same thing. It's like, all right, let's figure out that story that right brain side that appeals and grabs them by the heart and says, and not in your face way, but where, like you said, you see yourself in it and go, wow. And in a reflective way, you grab a hold of them and they don't even realize it's happened. And it's not manipulative. It is, but it is intentional to allow them to see the better path. So you've had an incredible journey. I mean, decades journey. So here's a question: when you look at your life and you look back on it, 3 habits that you think contributed most to your success up to this point.
The number one is my habit to reach out and literally physically connect with somebody. And I say physically, I don't want people to think it's kind of weird. Literally reaching out. I have a habit of thinking about people beyond myself and so eagerly wanting people to feel good. And so to me, the best thing I can do is reach out to somebody and say, you know what? I just saw something and it made me think of you. And, that's a big deal, that kind of eager to connect with people. I have a sense of urgency. And then a habit that to me, I've got to kind of get some help for, I think is good enough is never good enough. So I guess if those are habits, I've got some really crappy habits, but I'm sure that's the next question.
Yeah, the crappy habits I probably should talk to your wife about.
Yeah. You plan on spending a lot of time with her.
Yeah, I think the feeling would be mutual. We might have to do it at a restaurant one day.
There we go. Who's worse? Contest.
So if you looked at it, in this journey, what's the biggest, because we all get hit with, as soon as we start on a journey, we get hit with challenges, obstacles, hurdles to run into and that we run into. And I think that one of the things that some entrepreneurs, some people will think about is like, oh God, but I look at it as resistance training. I mean, we can't get stronger without those things. And I have in the past said, may you have a great many obstacles to overcome, because that means that you've dreamed big and that you've got a big vision that you're moving forward. But if you looked at yourself, what's the biggest hurdle, habit, or mindset that you had to overcome to get where you're at, and how did you do it?
I'm not sure I'm completely over it, but it's impulse control. But what's funny about that impulse control thing, where on the impulse you do that, is I'll reach out and call somebody on an impulse. It's just that type of thing. But whether it's my nutrition or whatever, it's been overcome because I've been able to assign a greater meaning to what it means to my wife, to my children, to the people that I serve. And when I talk about the people I serve, it's not just, clients and customers. It's more importantly my team, and am I healthy? Am I vibrant? Am I energetic? So I can serve them. I can provide the things that they need to be magnanimous.
Yeah.
And serve our customers. So that's probably my biggest one, and something that it's a constant battle. It's one that our good friend JJ Virgin literally pounds on my head like a sledgehammer. She's done so much to save my life, and I'm doing everything I can to squander it at times. But we're back on the train here.
I'm laughing because I remember having lunch with her at an event one time, and she's sitting at the table, and I grab a roll of bread, and she what's coming. She looks at me, she goes, "Do you know what it's going to do to your gut when you're done eating that?" I'm like, all right, I'll put it back.
Yeah. How's this one? Try eating with JJ on one side and Daniel Amen on the other. Holy crap. You can't even grab fruit.
No. You're timidly going, is this okay to eat? Is this okay?
Hey, by the way, waiter, can you go put that cheesecake with the strawberries on that pilaster over there, and I'll just go grab it as I'm walking out of the place.
If you looked out, because I know, with also especially with your wife, but you're heavily involved with youth and all that stuff. But looking out in the future, I know you and I would kind of feel the same. That I think we're in the greatest time of our lives from an opportunity standpoint. When you turn around and look at it, the walls that were up for us to start out as entrepreneurs, they're virtually non-existent. What I call it, as I said, our society has been Uberized,
Yeah, totally.
Where we can literally create our own business on the fly if we do it smart and we do it well. But looking out in the future, 5-10 years, where do you think we need to be spending our time to have the greatest impact? Whether it's that next $1 million idea, if that's a way to quantify it, or the next thing that just shifts life for people.
Wow. Well, first of all, I think that the Uberification of our economy and our lifestyle is something that is going to make our lives more easy and abundant. I just saw a thing today on an ad for Prezi, the presentation deal, that there was a thing called Just Park, and it was a presentation they did using Prezi, but Just Park is now Uberifying parking.
No way.
Like churches and schools and all these people, and they've got an app, and I'm thinking, man, this is right cool. But what this does is it's creating more time for us, right? It's keeping us from having to drive around and park and things. What I think that we are going to continue to see is there's an evolution that's going to get us back to personal communication. Millennials right now, and I love them. I've got some kids that are millennials. They want the greatest, most world-class service with the least possible human interaction.
Huge, yeah.
And I think that there's going to be an evolution to that. And I think that they're going to see that there's going to be more community, activities. And I think that they're going to find that I'm not a big it takes a village type of person from a political standpoint, but I certainly am a huge component or a proponent of mastermind groups and communities and like-minded people supporting each other. I think that we're going to see more and more groups like that. And I think from that, we're going to catapult our next level of technology, where these groups that come together, because they're happening all the time anyway. It's just our young people recognizing the importance of them.
Yeah, the pendulum had swung. It was swinging one way, and I think that as much as you called it social media, that social connection, that technological connection, desocialized people.
Truly.
This is putting it out there really bluntly. When you are watching something like a Periscope, and there's someone Periscoping that is a female, and because this happened, my wife and I were watching a Periscope of a friend of ours, and someone is going to type in, basically show me a body part. When we feel that we are so insulated from socialization that we can say something through technology that we wouldn't say to their face, we've lost touch with humanity. And I think you and I kind of talked about that swing back the other way is going to set apart those organizations that really manage it well, and those entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that get both sides of that coin.
Let me ask you something. You just said, use the term solopreneur, and I know that you have a lot of clients and people that you work with. Are they really any type of preneur? Are they more a freelancer, and then once they start building their team, they become an entrepreneur? Or I
think that in some cases they're freelancers. The interesting thing that I see, like even if I look at my strategic consulting or my valuation side of my business, at one time I had a paid employment staff, if you will, and office of 29 or 30. Now I don't have that, and it is a group of, if you will, contract folks that have their own thing, doing their own thing, but they're doing work for me just the same. Still the numbers may be the same, but the structure is different, right? In that context.
But that's a team still, right?
It's just still a team. It's still a team. It's just how the relationship has shifted. And I think the relationship has shifted from the standpoint of giving control back, because the concept of, wait, I want you to account for every single hour. All I want you to account for is the results.
Exactly.
I'm not that concerned about. In fact, even my business that's been married to a timesheet that was invented in 1919. You'd think we'd evolved since 1919, but I would look at it and say, I don't typically don't bill by the hour. I bill based on value, based on transformation, based on those things, because that's what we're really delivering in that process. And so it's still a team, and it's still a process. If I'm acting as an individual, I think that maybe you're a freelancer or you're kind of on your own,
which is not bad. I'm just saying. I was just listening to that Seth Godin interview, and he was talking about that, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned, value and time, that continuum anymore, that relationship. If value is basing value on time is like taking if the value that I got from your book, it would have to be 3,000 pages long. The value would be, I'm going to measure the value of the book to the amount of pages.
Yep.
It's just wrong. It's wrong. I mean, how many times, I don't know how many times people have told you that, I've read parts of your book and I close it because I can't take any more in. Like, I need to go out and use that, So it's just.
So the value goes up as for the slower readers then.
Yeah, exactly. It's huge value because they're spending lots of time, and it takes a long time for pages. And give me 5 minutes and something, that's another thing. And you and I talk about too. It has it has very little to do with the detail of your content, and everything to do with the insight that it provokes.
Yeah.
They're going to assign you that value. Right. And that line from that song, America, that was it, Oz didn't give nothing to the Tin Man that the Tin Man didn't already have.
Yeah.
I just think that's such a powerful thing to hear, and it's like, I don't even know what the rest of the song says.
But it is huge, especially in today's society when all they want to highlight is the negativity, the pessimism, the dirty laundry. And granted, we need to understand what's going on, but what about reflecting the good in people? What about
Yeah.
reflecting the possibility, the potential in people, and bolstering that and being the champion for that? And I know you do that in your teams. That's the way I kind of look at things, is that my responsibility as a leader, as a thought leader, is to inspire a greater level of contribution from people, to look at them and say, I see potential in you, and we're going to do what we can to light a fire in it and bring it to life, even though they may not see it. This is what I call the nightmare gift. That, that typically that happens. I know with me, it was, when my partnership broke up, where you think it's one of the worst things that could have ever happened in your life, and how are you going to go on and everything. And now you look back on it and you reflect on it and go, what a gift that was. I'm sure you've had plenty.
I'm living one right now.
Yeah.
I literally am. I mean, when, back in August, when we were told that our investor wanted to come in and acquire the remainder of the company, that he felt like he could do better, and wanted my dad to go home and everything, because it's your father, you want to fight it. But at the end of the day, family businesses are not necessarily the most enduring businesses in the world. As a matter of fact, they're the least.
Yeah.
and the premise was that, you know what, Jeff, we just want you to do what you do. We want you to do the thing that makes you successful, that makes us successful, and we'll take care of everything else. And so while I fought that tooth and nail and was up in, and anxious, this person, this investor, hey, we weren't performing the way he wanted to in returning the money that he wanted to, that he'd like to see, even though we're giving him a return. There was that he had a hard time seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we fought that. And all of a sudden, when we let it go, and I've been able to just go out and do what I do, my thoughts have been more clear. Our actions are more purposeful. We feel relatively safe. And these people, the owner and his team, are encouraging me and encouraging my team. And really it's been an awesome experience, and something that 6 months ago was a nightmare. Hey, am I going to have to sell my home? Am I going to have to file bankruptcy? All the things, right? Any uncertainty never, ever, ever goes to, oh, it's uncertain, but it's going to be okay. I mean, there's probably a drug for that, get it in Colorado, but it's, it is everything I want it. I would have thought I'd wanted it to be, and more. And now I look back, and the only regret, the only anxiety I have is me making sure that I'm fully optimizing and utilizing this gift.
Dynamite. But then I just got a couple more questions I want to run by. I know we've been on for a while, but I could talk to you for, hours.
Me too, Mel.
Yeah, so
me too, my friend.
So this is my tech question. We're in a technology age. If there was one technological tool or tactic that you have that's kind of shifted your ability to connect or your productivity the greatest, what would it be?
Oh boy, there's like 3 of them right now that I'm using, and they're all in that engagement. Asana is a program that I really, really like, and I like how they're evolving. I like followup.cc. That one's a good one, where I send an email and I'm like, I want a response to this, but I don't want to, and it's going to archive when I send it because I have Gmail, and, I don't want to keep it in my inbox. And so I click, and if somebody responds before tomorrow, then I got the response and it doesn't show up again. But if nobody responds to my email, it shows back up at 6:00 in the morning in follow-up. And it says followup.cc, and, hey, reach out to Mel, ask him not to roundhouse kick you the next time he sees you. And then the last one, and this one that I just started using because we have a report that goes out to our stakeholders, customers, distributors and everything, called the Deep Dive Report. And it's literally about seafood, but it's done with no jargon. It's done in a framework, and I know I know that I'm talking to the master frameworks when I talk to you, but every single report is what is going on, what does it mean to you, meaning the customer, and what should you do next? And so, and without any jargon. And so I want to get that, I want the deliverability of something that important to get out to everybody. And so if it's in Aweber or it's in one of these things that could be filtered out.
Right.
What I did is I subscribed to yet another mail merge. And it's one of the simplest ones I've ever used. It literally is an email. Like, you can send any email you want. It's not like the one that Excel had that you only had so many lines. Right. It's literally an email that you can set out, personalize, do everything for 100, 1,500 people a day if you want. And it's deliverable through your email address. So it's not a
right.
deal. So if there's people that, let's say you've established a client, the clientele, it's not necessarily that list doesn't go through Aweber or MailChimp or somebody like this. You actually have it within your mail merge. And so you're assured of that deliverability. Of
nice.
That. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then if there was a book that had the biggest impact on you that you think is still relevant today?
Yeah. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, to me, the cue, the behavior, the reward. God. And again, we're talking framework again.
Yeah, it is.
We get into this nerdy conversation, but it's just fantastic.
I actually talk about that book in one of my other episodes. Actually, two of my episodes, we talked about your habits and talk about that book and the framework and all that, because I think you're right. It's huge that we're a result of the habits that we brought along with us.
Yeah. And you know what? And he writes so well.
Yeah.
Right. He just writes so well. So
here's the doozy. If you could travel back in time to day one of your journey, your startup, your entrepreneurial journey, and had 15 minutes to kind of sit with yourself and whisper some lessons in your ear that might save you mistakes or heartache or anything, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself that there is no equity in acquiring information, that it's what you do with information that is going to provide you not only value for whoever you serve, but it's what you do with that information and your insights, and as quickly as you can, speed of implementation, it's going to create a life of abundance for you beyond your imagination today.
Dynamite. I mean, Jeff, this is so many lessons in this session with you from your journey and your thoughts. One of the things, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know that we've been on for a little while, so taking the time out of your day, being so gracious and giving to our community and all that. And so I want to thank you. Thank you for being here.
It's been a pleasure, Mel, and I would do anything for you because I just appreciate so much what you do for everybody.
Well, thanks, Jeff. And I promise you, Thursday Night Boardroom.
Awesome.
We're going to get it on the calendar, and I'm going to make sure I get myself there. Just be nice to me.
I will be very nice to you as long as you answer authentically and with a deep sense of purpose.
Well, I know no other way, my friend.
Right. Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you soon. And this has been a lot of fun, Mel.
Thanks, Jeff. And for those of you out there that have tuned in, thanks again. There's so many lessons in this. And if you know someone that can be done some good from some of this, learn some things from this, share it with a friend. And we're going to be doing more and more of this. So make sure that you subscribe to the show and be part of our journey, be part of the community. We got some great people like Jeff and others that are going to be part of this. And we look forward to seeing you. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe so you get access to all of Mel's business and success tips. And if you like this episode, share it with a friend. If you have a specific business or success question, you can ask it at www.askmelnow.com. Remember, it's all about being bold, dreaming big, and living life your way. Because the world needs you. Until the next episode, may your vision be grand, your journey epic, and your legacy significant.